Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Yes, I got this patch on my face. Got a tooth pulled, got infected, swollen up. I got a drain on the inside and the outside of my cheek. I am feeling 100% better than what I was feeling all of last week. I apologize for being out. If you can get past this, I can get past it. So I'm back. I appreciate all the well wishes that you guys sent me, man. It really did mean a lot to me. But I'm going to fight through it if you guys can bear with me. So I appreciate it. But speaking of bear with it, this Big 12 conference, now look, there's no question. I love chaos. I've said it on many different times, several occasions. I love chaos. I don't think there's anything more chaotic than what is going on in the Big 12 right now. Literally nine teams still have an opportunity based on whatever crazy scenario that you think of can make it to the Big 12 title game. It's absolutely insane. But we are going to break down what happened this past weekend and let you know as far as some of that craziness that absolutely went on. So I appreciate you guys being in here. Remember to continue to like, follow, subscribe, and continue to be in that comments section. I tried to be in there as much as I could last week, but I just wasn't feeling very well last week. So I feel a lot better this week. Again, appreciate your all support and the well wishes. Let's break this down. Let's get into it. First things first, Kansas State with a very workmanlike effort against Cincinnati. They win 41-15. The defense played well. Cincinnati really couldn't get anything going. Kansas State ran the ball pretty well. Avery Johnson did some stuff through the air, but to me, more importantly, he ran the football, something that I thought Kansas State needed to get back to doing. DJ Giddens got back on track, ran for 143 yards on 15 carries. Look, big game coming up. There's no question, Kansas State next week. If they have any chance, and I believe their percentage is like 15%, which is insane, for them to get into the Big 12 title. I don't see, me personally, I don't see there being a possibility of that happening, but we've seen crazier things happen. All that being said, big game next week, but this is a very workmanlike game against Cincinnati. Look, Cincinnati, man, they started 5-2, and you're thinking maybe 7-8 wins is possible. Now they got to win next week against TCU to even be able to be bowl eligible. So, like I said, at the beginning of the year, myself, I didn't pick Cincinnati to be that good. They're better than what I anticipated them being. But at 5-2, look, if they don't make a bowl game, Cincinnati fans should look at this as a disappointment. I know it's better than what you were last year, but you're sitting at 5-2 and you can't win another game to be able to be bowl eligible. I think you and the fans, players, everybody would look at that as not necessarily a failure, just a disappointment. Just a disappointment. Because to me, there's a difference between failure and disappointment. So hopefully they can get that done. Moving on. Look, Iowa State gets a late touchdown to beat Utah. This game, it just, I don't know, aesthetically didn't look great. Iowa State's defense got back on track, though, which you would expect against a Utah team that has struggled to find offense all season long. Jaden Higgins, 9 catches, 155 yards, and a touchdown for Iowa State. Just pretty much unstoppable. Again, big game that they have coming up this week against Kansas State at home. Farmageddon will be in full effect. I'm looking forward to it. And not to mention, I'm pretty sure by the time this game kicks off, most of the deciding games will have already been decided. So this game that they're going to be playing, which is going to be on Saturday night, not late night football, just evening football, a lot of the stuff that you're going to need to know what happened, it's going to have already happened. So I'm really looking forward to this football game as far as what they can do. Utah, not going to go to a bowl game this year. It's been a complete collapse on their part. Can't find a quarterback. Going to have to do a lot of soul searching to get that program. Look, I think it's just an off year. It happens with every program. I didn't think it would fall this far for Utah, but I think they can get it back moving into next season. TCU, another win. Is they just basically smack around Arizona. Arizona's I don't know if Arizona's quit. Arizona's just not a very good football team. But TCU's playing its best football of the season right now. They cruised to a victory. The game was fairly close, at halftime. Fairly close. And then TCU just literally took control in the second half. They win 49-28. And be honest with you, I don't even know if the game was really even that close. TCU, like I mentioned, they appear to be playing their best football of the season. If you would have said that they'd be sitting here after that loss at home, that embarrassing loss on a Friday night to Houston, and saying that they would be sitting at 7-4 at this point in the season, there's not a lot of people that would have thought that that would be correct. Not diehard TCU fans, not college, just not a lot of people would have said, yeah, TCU's right there. They're on the cusp. Yeah, I don't think that would have happened. So, but good for them for getting their season turned around. Texas Tech in a shootout. They win. Was it 56-48 against Oklahoma State? No defense in this football game whatsoever. 1,100 yards these two teams combined for, which is insane. Ollie Gordon had a good game. Finally has that breakout game that people had been looking for. Unfortunately, it comes up in a loss. Just too much Barrett Morton, too much Taj Brooks. But again, this is a game that just saw no resistance at all from either team. You talk about going south. It is really, really gone south for Oklahoma State. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but it doesn't even look remotely good at all as far as what's going on. 1,100 yards in this game. Like I said, 56-48. Tech still has another tester next week against West Virginia. And believe it or not, Tech is still able to get to Arlington. They are in that mix. That's how crazy this Big 12 conference has become. Speaking of West Virginia, they got a road win over UCF to become bowl eligible, 31-21. Good for West Virginia. I know that was weighing on a lot of Mountaineer football fans' minds of would they become bowl eligible. This was a testy game. They beat UCF again. But in all honesty, I'm not sure this game was really even that close. I know it was 31-21. West Virginia was up 28-7 at one point and just kind of cruised the victory. Game was never in doubt. RJ Harvey goes over 100 yards again. It just seems like every week he's running for 100 yards, but to no prevail. West Virginia was the better football team from start to finish, and they proved to be. UCF, on the other hand, this is their first losing regular season since 2015. They're not going to be going bowling this year. It's a shame, but so much promise for a UCF football team that a lot of people thought were going to make some noise in the Big 12. They did not make that noise this season, unfortunately. Baylor keeps it rolling. 1-5, this one over Houston. Look, this game, 20-10, it was a turnover fest. I mean, the game started with an interception by both teams. It was absolutely insane. 7 total turnovers in this football game. Quarterbacks just continually threw interceptions in this football game. Just not the most aesthetically pleasing football game, I would say. But again, Baylor found another way to win. They've won 5 in a row, people. Baylor sitting at 7-4. They host Kansas this coming up week to get to 8 wins possibly. After how they lost at Colorado and then the next week losing at Iowa State. Again, this is another scenario where you could say, did you really believe that Baylor would be here at 7-4? Did you think they'd be sitting right here at 7-4? No. Dave Aranda needs to be commended. He's done an incredible job of keeping his team engaged, keeping his team fighting, and keep winning football games, man. They believe they're down in Baylor. They believe, and good for them. Big game coming up because Kansas is playing as well as anybody, not just in the Big 12, as well as anybody in the country right now. So it's going to be a really big game. Kansas trying to get bowl eligible. So speaking of KU, that was a physically dominating football game that they just literally smacked around Colorado 37-21. Now, look, there's going to be some people that try to make some excuses, and I don't know why, because Colorado has lost 3 football games this year, all because a team out-physicaled them. Nebraska, Kansas State, and Kansas. Kansas was the worst one of all. Kansas just lined up and said, we're going to run the football. Kansas State showed us the way. We're going to line up, we're going to run the football, and there's not going to be anything you can do about it, Colorado. And there wasn't. They ran the ball for 333 yards. Devin Neal, he had 207 of those himself. He also had another 80 yards through the air or receiving. It's just absolute physical domination of Colorado. We've heard some people come out and talk about Colorado still controls their own destiny. No, they do not. They need help. And it's got to be disappointing for a lot of Colorado fans because, hey, they win this game and they would have been in. But unfortunately, they no longer are in. They need some help. It still doesn't diminish what Colorado did this year. People trying to diminish it and say, oh, well, they didn't do anything. Yeah, they did, man. This program was in the toilet 2 years ago. Let's not kid ourselves. It was in the toilet. And to go from that to where they are now is remarkable. But that still doesn't change the fact that Kansas literally took it to them. Colorado had no answers for their physicality. And that's been the problem. When teams got physical that were capable of being physical, they couldn't handle it. And this was another case where they just could not handle it. Had to stop the run, and they were not able to do that. So great win by Kansas. That was a physical beatdown of the Colorado Buffaloes. And Kansas, like I mentioned before, they got a game at Baylor to get bowl eligible. And Kansas is playing probably as good as anybody in the country right now. 3 weeks in a row, they beat 3 ranked teams. I mean, come on, man. They're playing really, really good football. This is the Kansas team that a lot of us thought we were going to see at the beginning of the year when they were giving away football games for God knows reasons. This is that Kansas football team that we all believed that we were going to see. It's good to see them stick together, fight together, and get this thing turned around. And then, to me, the game of the day, Arizona State beats BYU, a crazy ending. Arizona State just jumps out on fire. 21-0. Looks like it could be a blowout. They have to hold on to win the football game. And I mean, literally hold on to win the football game. I have no idea what they're doing at the end of the game there, trying to run off time. I'm like, man, there are so many other ways that you could burn this time off the clock. They didn't do it. And instead, they give a Hail Mary from the 50. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. That was completed, by the way, that BYU just didn't get the ball into the end zone. Yeah, the pass was completed. They just didn't get it in the end zone. Crazy finish. But look, you have to give all the credit to Arizona State. There isn't a person in this anywhere that thought 11 games in, Arizona State would be sitting at the top of the Big 12. Okay? There isn't anybody. And I don't care. You could be the biggest Arizona State fan in the world. You may have thought they would have a good season, but you didn't think they were going to be sitting at the top of this conference. No, you didn't. And there's nothing wrong with you not believing that. They hadn't shown anything like that. But in this world of the transfer portal and NIL, your fortunes can change quickly. And Arizona State is a good example of you get the right coach, you get the right culture, you go out and you get the right guys that believe, and things can turn around for you quickly. That's why I am such a proponent of the transfer portal and NIL. I know so many of you out there believe that it's ruining college football. No, it isn't. Not even remotely. Oh, by the way, for the people that think it's ruining college football, did you see the stands at Arizona State on Saturday? Did you see that? Did it look like it ruined that experience for anybody that was in that football stadium? No, it didn't. So we got to stop with all the nonsense about what it's doing. To me, all it's doing is evening things out. It's giving people that for what, a decade, it was 3 or 4 teams could win the national title. That's not the case anymore, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Arizona State is a great example of that. I love the kind of season that they're having. I love the camaraderie. I love the fan base that is trying to get behind them because they were just simmering, just waiting for something good to happen. And now they got something. They really got something, man. This Big 12 conference is really good. Let me take a step back. Hold on. I'm not saying the Big 12 conference as a whole is good. I just think that watching the football is good for me, good for you, good for fans. Look, it's not the best football out there, should I say. What they're doing on a week-to-week basis, I don't think it's even close to being one of the top two conferences. Heck, it might even be fourth behind the ACC. But that doesn't mean it's bad football. Let's clarify that. I don't think what the Big 12 doing is bad. They just don't have a dominant football team. That's okay. Can it get there? Yeah, I think it can get there. Is it there right now? No, but that's all right. Now, the one thing they got to do, whoever it is, and look, there's only going to be one Big 12 team getting to the college football playoff. In the nightmare scenario, there's actually a way that no Big 12 teams would get there, but I think with Army losing, I think that's out the window. Having said all of that, they got to go win a playoff game. Whoever it is, somebody's got to go win a playoff game. We can't just get in and then get our head beaten in and then, pound on the table that we deserve more respect. No, you got to go earn the respect. And how you do that, you go beat somebody that nobody probably thinks that you can beat and go compete in this playoff. So it was a wild, wild day on Saturday this past weekend for the Big 12. It's going to be even crazier this coming weekend, even though not all the matchups aren't necessarily, big time matchups, but there's so many different games that mean so much to so many different teams and scenarios. The biggest matchup, I guess, is probably Kansas State, Iowa State. We'll see. But I'm just looking forward to it. And the one thing that I know for an absolute fact, chaos has ruled the day in the Big 12. Chaos. You may not like it. You may despise it. You may think it's unnecessary. But to me, chaos is fun. And what's going on right now in the Big 12 is fun. Appreciate everybody being in here. Thank you guys again. Put up with me for a little longer, man. I'm healing. I'm getting better. I'm not 100%. I'm probably only at 45%. But at 45%, that's good enough to be out here with you guys. So I appreciate you. Love you guys. And I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.